questions for Coach Traylor. JJ, you've had your hand up.
Jeff, a few months after the early signing period, what does it mean, I guess, to you to have the top Group of 5 class?
Again, I wouldn't have known unless you told me. I know we've been saying the same thing now for this is our, I guess, going on year 4. I know it matters. I know it's a way for everybody to stay involved, boosters, give them to do. But I've said it a million times and I stand by it. The evaluation piece is important. The recruiting piece is important. 2 of those 3 are done now. And it's the development part is what's most important, is what do we do with these kids from here on out? And, but yeah, I know it gets my fan base excited. I've been a way better coach when my team's better than the other team. And the better you recruit, the better chance you got of winning. So hopefully all of our evaluation were correct. And we recruited really hard and well. But I repeat, the third and most important piece is still coming, the development of that young man's mind, his soul, his spirit, his body, his speed, his agility. And that's the most important piece.
We'll go to you, Greg.
Jeff, you guys had most of this class already lined up before today. How does that change what this period of the last few weeks was like from the early signing period until now?
We've just been targeting like area of need, like specifically, you know what I mean? Like, so we've just been way more, turned down a lot more kids than we ever have. And just a bunch of good players out there right now. And a lot of them are going to our opponents because we just don't have room for them. So that would be my biggest deal, is how selective we've been, and keeping in mind, trying to anticipate where our roster might lose some kids to have some availability in the summer when there's more kids. It's the way of the new time, man. We're unrestricted free agency with an unlimited salary cap. Welcome to being the general manager.
All right, Sam, we'll go to you.
Hey, Jeff. You guys added a JUCO guy today. You guys, I think if I counted correctly, you guys have 8 in this class. How have you guys been able to find value in those ranks in recruiting in this last cycle?
Again, it's one of those things I said since day one, from my experience with Charlie and Chad. Charlie only got 3 years and Chad only got 2 years. So I'm like, to heck with that. We're not going to just recruit all high school kids because you don't get 5 years anymore to get them all the way through. So you better get in there quicker. So JUCO and transfer portal. So the word I used back then when Greg and JJ were very skeptical of my hire was a blended roster, right? Because just it's common sense to me. It's just blended. So we want to be, and I think we've been pretty true to this. My fact finder, Greg, will probably bust me on this, but I would imagine we're somewhere around 2/3 high school kids, probably 60% high school kids as we've been here, maybe 25-30% JUCO, and probably 5 to 10% transfer portal. I bet if you had to break it all down, we're somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think this class is similar, maybe 12 high school, 8 JUCO, 4 transfer portal, which would put us, more 50-50, obviously. But it's just what I think is the best way to do that. And we've hit really good on those kids. You don't win all those games without having a bunch of great players.
Are you finding a higher level JUCO guy now in 2022, 2023 than maybe you would have several years ago before the one-time transfer rule was a thing? Because from what we can tell, it seems like not as many of them are going to Power 5 programs. So I'm curious, do you see that effect, that windfall coming to you in terms of you guys are being able to find a higher level JUCO guy now?
I think Mike Craven and I were talking about it, and I think it was his article. I'm not sure if it was yours, Sam. I apologize. Somebody wrote a really good article on it's not so much the transfer portal as what's hit us is COVID. I mean, just your common sense. Everybody's got an extra year. So if those guys are not leaving, and there's college and the high school, just because look at my roster of guys, whatever the article I read, and I apologize, I might not be citing that correctly. I believe it was Mike's. We might even have the highest of that. I think we have 14 that would be leaving right now if not for COVID. So guess what? That costs 14 kids scholarships, either high school or junior college. So I'm not sure it's the transfer portal as much as it is COVID. And I remember sharing that with Mike, and that's just my old Gilmore, East Texas in me. I'm like, there's still the same number of scholarships. I mean, transfer portal or not, it's still 85. So that's not it. It's got to be something different. So I just started thinking, well, heck, everybody's got an extra year. Mm-hmm. So then I looked at my team. I think I'm at 14. So that's 14 scholarships we couldn't give to high school kids, JUCO kids. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think we're going to see a way more true indication, Sam, once we get past this COVID era of graduation rates dropping tremendously because of transfer portal. That's where we're hiding some graduation rates right now because they're getting the extra year. So it looks like they're all graduating right on time, where the percentage degree completed, we're real close on a bunch of kids, I bet you.
Okay, Nate, we'll go to you. Don, you're on deck.
Hey, Coach. Make sure you hear me all right. So sort of a two-part question here for you. From when you first started recruiting here at UTSA up until now, have you noticed that it's been easier, more difficult, easier, I guess, to recruit kids having put together back-to-back double-digit win seasons, and also with now the move to the American Conference? How has that paid, I guess, dividends on the recruiting trail?
I ask the kids that. I do. When they come in my office, we sit down, just have some one-on-one time. I ask them what's changed, you know, and I would say the perception of our program, the national rankings obviously help. The winning obviously help. The new race facility obviously helps. We've always had a great city. We've always had a great university. We've always had a great place to play. Adding the race facility and all the wins have made it definitely easier. As far as that easier is not correct, because we're now competing against the same people. We're moving into that league. I guess the athlete is a bigger, longer, faster athlete, and we're getting. It's easier to get in the homes. That'll be the best way to put it. Easier to get in the homes. Easier to get phone calls taken. Birds up, meet is pretty cool, and it does help that our NFL success is really helping. Tariq Woolen, Pro Bowl, Spencer Burford starting NFC Championship game, Leroy Watson. We've got kids, in the XFL. We've got kids everywhere right now that are doing well, and all that just helps. And I think, signing such a long contract really helped, just to ease, because our competitors like to put out there that I'm not going to be here and my staff's not going to be here. And all those things matter, in my opinion. But it's still hard to get them in the boat. I mean, it's still hard to get them here because we're competing against better people now.
Are the schools maybe Power Fives, other schools in your conference? Is that?
Yeah, just going to the AAC. I mean, it's just, I'm not going to name any of them because I don't want to give them any credit. But yeah, they're tougher.
Okay, Don, we'll go to you.
Hey, Jeff, I may be late to the party here. I'm not sure I've heard officially. You were talking about, COVID year and guys coming back. Can you confirm officially that, your three stud receivers, we all know Frank's coming back. Who else of the high level contributors that you have confirmed that they're coming back? And also from the personnel standpoint, from your coaching staff, I saw that Maddox left as well on the offensive side. So what's your situation with offensive coordinator and any staff updates as well?
Don, first of all, in the city of San Antonio, no party can ever get started officially until Don Harris shows up. So you're not late. The party just began when you arrived. So that's first. Let's get that out there. Second, I'd like to tell you they're all going to be on the roster. There's still another transfer portal to go through. May the 1st through May the 15th. The kids can still enter the portal. So all boosters watching, feel free to go to 210inspired.org, 210cityfans.org. And if you want to see all your great players play, please contribute. But so far, they're all here and they're all working out. Man, we've lost no one. We have lost people to the portal. I'm really happy for those guys. I mean, like Dre Spriggs went to UTEP. I'm thrilled for Dre. I mean, all 3 of those receivers are coming back. He sat on the bench now this whole time waiting for those guys to graduate, and they're all coming back. Cam Peters sat on the bench for 3 years. Frank came back again. So I'm happy for those guys. I've been trying to help them in the portal. But we've not lost any of our guys, per se, that have been starters so far. They're still getting hit up and all that kind of stuff that's going on. And it is what it is. As far as my coaching staff, obviously we lost Will Stein to Oregon as an OC. We promoted Justin Burke. We lost Matt Maddox to Purdue. We promoted Kurt Traylor to the run game coordinator. We hired Jared Anderson, who's been at TCU for 22 years with Coach Patterson. He recruited my school at Gilmer all 15 years. He's one of the best evaluators of talent. He's been an OC. He's coached quarterbacks. He's coached tight ends. He's coached running backs. He's coached wide receivers. Gary moved him everywhere on that staff. We've lost no one on the defensive side yet. But, yeah, for my original 10, 6 of those guys are now gone. And it's what I said, where we have to get creative. We've got, the collectives they're busting their tails, which I've brought up many, many times with our NIL stuff. And I repeat, I understand there's a lot of people that just don't like the fact of NIL, but every one of our collectives have asked me my opinion, and I've given it to them. I want my kids to serve. I don't want our kids just being given money. I want them to give back to the city, whatever that is. Ask the kid what is on his heart, and if they don't know, help them. If you're a booster and they don't know, help them, guide them, teach them. They're young men, and they need to learn this stuff, how to give and take care of their community that's taking care of them. So I hope we don't lose anybody else, Don. Every time I see a job come open, I'm cringing because I love my staff, and it is the frustrating part, and we do keep moving up within. We also promoted Sean Davis to quarterback coach. So Justin Burke's going to stay with tight ends and be the OC. Sean is going to coach the quarterback now, who's been an analyst for me. So we're going to always try to move it. I don't know what the stat is, but of the 6 spots I've lost, I believe 5 of them have all been promoted from within.
Yeah. Can you update us on JT's recovery? And I'm sure Rashad's is a lot better off than JT. Will JT be a guy that can play opening day?
And that'll be tough. I said it in the staff meeting yesterday. We were going over these injuries. There's 2 things JT has going for him. One, he's one of the most amazing humans in the entire world. He's a great person. He never misses rehab. He's always early. Number 2, he is genetically a freak. I mean, he is a freak. So I know the piece of paper says he will not be ready game 1, but I would never bet against John Thomas Clark. So as far as Rashad, he had his surgery so earlier in the year that he is way ahead of JT, obviously, and I would expect him to be 100% game 1.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, Greg, we'll go back to you.
Yeah, Jeff, now that you guys have a full picture of who all is coming back for next year and who you guys are bringing in with this next recruiting class, what's your early read on how this roster that you guys have at UTSA stacks up to what you'll face in the new conference next year?
I hadn't played in it yet, so, I really don't know that. Watching the Cotton Bowl, I mean, that'll get your attention pretty quick, right? So I don't know. I know we'll have a good football team. I know we're deeper on the O-line than we've ever been. We're deeper at receiver we've ever been. We're deeper at running back than we've ever been. Our whole D line was coming back -1. We're also picking Brandon Matterson back up from an injury. You know, defensively, we brought in some corners that are young, that we feel good about them. We also brought in one that's played a lot in Cam. We brought in Elliott, who's played a lot at safety. But whenever you lose, you know, Cliff, you got to replace a starter. You lose a Dadrian Taylor, you're replacing a starter. You're losing Trevor Harmonson, you're replacing a starter, right? So we have really been attentive there. We do feel good about our young kids that are ready to step into that role. It's time for Zay Frazier to come on, DeJuan Griffin, Xavier Spencer at corner. It's time for those guys to come on. It's time for Owen Pee-wee to come on, Donye at nickel. We really like Marcellus at nickel as well. We recruited some young D linemen that we hope we can develop. But all of our D line is, you know, is back. So I don't know, to answer your question about the league, but we feel good about our team.
And it seems like just with what you see on social media now, you guys are already making a lot of progress towards the class of 24. Does it get easier to be out in front of that as you've been here for a few years and get established, or how do you rate where you guys stand as you look ahead to next year already?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. You know, it was so weird when you get hired in December. Let's be honest, no one was excited. So you get that first class, you just try to get something in here right as fast as you can. And we hit on some kids there, and we missed on a couple. And then you got COVID. So I mean, more than anything, just the winning and the normalcy helps you get in front. If that makes any sense what I'm saying at all, Greg. It's just been so crazy. First year is one thing. COVID's a whole nother situation. You didn't even have camps. You know, you couldn't get them on your campus, and you know that's tough. So that was 2 years in a row. We had to do our evaluation off of video game only, and that's just a small piece of the recruiting puzzle. That's why there are so many misses by so many experts, including coaches, when you go just off of game video. The more you see them on campus at their high school playing, the more you see those kids at your own camp, the better chance you have of really making an accurate evaluation.
Okay, Sam.
Jeff, obviously I know you mentioned Frank coming back next year, but how do you feel about where you guys stand at the position after Frank? I know Eddie's still around, and then you guys brought in a couple quarterbacks in this class. How do you feel about where you guys are at that position after he moves on?
Obviously, we feel good about Eddie Lee. He's been in the system for a long time. He knows the offense. He's played well when he's had his opportunity. Owen McCowan, the starter at Colorado, before he decided to redshirt, was a huge get for us. Jackson Gilkey out of Ennis was another really great get for us. I think that world's going to change a little bit. You know, my number's always been pretty high at quarterback, 5 or 6, because I wanted to develop them. I don't know if that's ever going to happen anymore because they're all going to leave, I'm afraid. So do you make that number 4 now on your recruiting, you know, budget when you're looking at how many numbers you can afford to have on scholarship? That's going to be interesting to see how that room plays out. A healthy competition for a number 2 might keep a kid around. God forbid you ever play a young kid, you know, because I don't know who's going to stay around anymore. It's just, I know no one feels sorry for coaches, but that's one of those deals that just keeps you up late at night. Where I'm lucky is they all know this is Frank's last year. So I've got some really good young guys wanting that job. Whoever gets the job this time next year, I don't want you to ask me what that room's like, because it might be blown up. You know what I mean? Maybe I can talk 4 of them into believing they've got a real chance to start, and they all stay around.
As you drag the quarterback competition into the fall for that.
QB1 will be decided by these 4 people. On
one guy I wanted to ask you about. No, go ahead.
That's after Frank, not this year. Frank,
right.
QB1. All right.
One guy I wanted to ask you about, I thought was a tremendous player seemed kind of go under the radar, but you guys ended up landing him, was David Amador, North Shore. What caught your guys' eye about him, and do you feel like maybe you got a steal with that guy?
No doubt, but heck, I hate to play him because I'm going to, because he's good, but you know what's going to happen when you play those young freshmen. I mean, even though it's not happening, it's happening, right? And David and I have a unique relationship, man, because of Jim Price at North Shore and John Kay at North Shore. We were very lucky to hold on to him. He's very loyal, and he's a really good football player. So you don't want to get too overhyped about recruits, right? Because I just don't like that. Those guys need to come in here and earn it. I'm still old school. We still vote for numbers around here, right? But David's the kind of guy you can speak truth about. His family's wired the right way. But we're excited. He's already here on campus. He's already been through the workouts. So we're excited about David. And the program he comes from, North Shore, has put out a bunch of great players. We've got Ty Leonard on our roster, who plays a true freshman as well. And I would expect David to do the same.
Okay, Nate.
Coach, you guys have some offers out to some guys in the San Antonio area, for years down the road. Just touch again. I know you value a lot local players here in the city. You want to, I guess, reiterate why you like bringing in some local players, and then, your overall take, I guess, on football talent here in the city moving forward.
That was our biggest disappointment of the class, is we didn't nail any of those guys that went off to the Power 5 schools. And, that one hurt. So we've done a really good job up until this year of that. And I asked all of our local ones this year, they're already in here, my 24s and 25s, they're already up on campus and coming around, are you going to be like some of these San Antonio kids that want to stay here and make this your team? And let's just be honest, man, the money's big out there at those Power 5 schools. It's a lot of money. And we're going to have to get our NIL deals up there, or I don't know that you're going to keep your great San Antonio players at home anymore. We've got some that did it, like Trey Moore. I can promise you, he could have left here and made a whole lot more somewhere else, and he stayed, right? So there are some Oscar Cardenas. I promise you, he could go somewhere and make a lot more. They're loyal to the city. So I know I keep harping about NIL and 210inspired.org and 210 City fans and Runners Rising. But that's what the game is now. And I hope, but like our city took care of Frankie, who's a walk-on. They helped J-Rod. I mean, those are walk-ons. I think that's impressive. I think our city's got to keep doing that. And I'm so grateful for our city. I hope no one ever thinks that every time they hear me on the TV, I'm asking for more and more and more. And we've sold more tickets. We've had more suites. We've got more money coming in. But it's what this game is. I mean, and it is expensive. And the game of football is worth it, though. It really is. It's worth it for these young men.
Did you have any walk-ons or PWOs out there from the city at all that maybe we didn't know about? Just checking.
Yeah, we have. We've got about 3 of them right now that we know they'll be here. I don't think I can even comment on them yet because they're not accepted into school. Before you can say someone's name, they've got to be accepted, got to pay a deposit. So I don't want to get in trouble over anybody, but for sure I don't want to get in trouble over a walk-on like old Jeff Traylor was back in 1986.
JJ.
Jeff, your buddy GJ Kinne is having a pretty good signing class so far. You pay attention to any of that, or you just staying with your head down with your class?
Oh, he's my quarterback, man. He's my guy. So yeah, we talk all the time. I'm trying to help him. I know that's going to make the Roadrunner fan want to smash me, but he's my guy. And you need all the guys in the business that are for kids as possible. And GJ's for kids. And I can promise you game 2, I mean, he'll be going at it and I'll be going at it. There'll be no love lost for either one of us, but only on that day. Other than that, I've been we don't want to negative recruit against anybody at all. We've got enough good things to say here. But GJ's for sure off limits on my staff just because of the human he is. He'll bust his tail. He understands Texas connections. He knows a lot of people. He'll work hard, and that was a really good hire by Texas State.
Greg?
Jeff, we've been covering you for a few years now, and it seems like consistently signing days are usually the most kind of drained or tired version of you we get. Today, it seems a little bit more normal. I don't know. Was there anything different about this process in terms of the stress compared to, the early signing period or the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, you just look at where I was the last time that happened. We back-to-back conference championships, had to host both games, got to host both games. Bowl game, father just passed, signed 24 kids, had 18 on official visits that weekend. That's just a lot, man. That's a lot. Where we've had 3 scholarships available to us right now. So we targeted about 3 kids, and we got, one of the 3. So we've got a couple left, and obviously we anticipate somebody on our roster will probably leave. I hope not, but I imagine a few of them are going to look at this depth chart. We have 17 kids on campus already. That's never happened. We've never had more than 5 or 6 come in at January, and we have 17. That's going to cause some people on the roster to look up and go, oh, heck. If you're not in the 2 deep right now, who's getting in the transfer portal on May the 1st and May 15th? Who the heck knows? And so I imagine once that happens, we'll be targeting a couple more guys. So yeah, just all that as a lot.
Sam?
Jeff, I want to go back to something you said at the top about having a blended class. To scout that properly, it takes a lot of work. I know. How have you guys been able to juggle and manage those duties with your staff, your recruiting staff, and do that successfully?
First of all, we've got to get a recruiting staff, and ours are volunteers. We have students that help us that don't make a dime, and our analysts and our GAs, we all double time it. So that's something we've got to move towards, of getting a full-time recruiting department. That's all they do, and pay them. We actually have that, but they're volunteers and they're students that are helping us. And it's just one more thing on my board up there to get knocked off the list. But a lot of double timing, a lot of multitasking, a lot of what Greg's talking about. Why do I seem like I'm in a better mood, maybe smiling today because I've had sleep, and there's only so many hours in a day. I'm reading some book right now about hurrying an enemy. I don't know the exact name of the book, but it is crazy that, what the average people used to sleep, JJ, back in the day, like average sleep was 11 hours because they went to bed when the sun went down. They woke up when the sun came up. But when we invented the clock, we started listening to that clock. I want to go back to going to bed when the sun goes down and waking up when the sun comes up. That sounds like a better day to me. So there's only so many hours in the day. And Dr. Compost and President Amy are aware of all these needs, and you just can't do it all at one time. Yeah, Sam, that's what we have somebody, all they do is watch the transfer portal. We have somebody, all they do is watch JUCO. And we have a couple people, all they do is watch high school. High school is easier because you have area recruiters. So my guys that have the areas, they can just talk to the high school coaches and they know who those high school guys are. Again, those high school coaches have helped us tremendously with the transfer portal and junior college. I have this guy that is at this school, and it always goes to that high school coach with us, just them keeping us in touch, which saves us a lot of time. Now, and I've told you, I've had the same number now for 21 years. So every single coach texts me when they've got any player, and then I'm sending it to that person on my staff that's in charge of that. But yeah, like Zach Brown wears multiple hats on our staff. Hunter Ritterman wears multiple staff. Damian Sarge Williams, multiple hats they wear. And, Hunter's the one that is in charge of it. And Zach, we call it the law firm because we've got so many different names on it. I think it's Brown and Zach Brown, Ritterman, and Williams law firm, because those three people are over the recruiting department. And that's how we roll with it here. And they've done a great job. Joe Price did do that job before he became the receiver coach. And Joe did a really good job of reaching out to some students on campus that wanted to get in this business. So they evaluated in there. They worked their tails off. Like, if you don't walk in there right now, you think we're paying those kids, and we've got to get that in the budget where we can do that.
You mentioned the high schools. Obviously, you guys have deep relationships on that front. On the portal, I know there are resources out there dedicated, like recruiting service type things that you guys can access. I don't know that there is something like that for a JUCO standpoint. So how do you get that work done? Like, how much more legwork do you have to do to dig in on a JUCO guy?
Well, you hire on your staff guys that have JUCO experience. It's what's great about hiring Jared Anderson, who's been doing this for 22 years. I mean, a lot of JUCO experience. Losing Matt Maddox hurt there because Matt had a lot of JUCO. He played JUCO. So it's usually guys that have gone through that world. And because we've done such a good job of taking care of kids here with JUCO, those coaches trust us, and they want their kids taken care of. And our guys have done well here. Just right off the top of my thing about Trevor Harmonson, Leroy, Mekhi Hart. There's been some really good players that were junior college players. We expect Marcel's to come in here and do well. Vinley had a heck of a year last year, another junior college football player. So, getting Willie in here, top wide receiver, JUCO prospect maybe in the country, the running back, one of the top JUCO guys in the country. Daniel, another top JUCO offensive tackle in the country. Buffalo, another top JUCO offensive tackle in the country. So we really did well there.
All right. Anything else for Coach Traylor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Good to see you.
God bless. Birds up.